Hey guys, this is Savannah from earthandwater.co, and today I am here with a guest, Megan Jones, uh, who is a holistic, integrative health coach, right?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
I help people clean up their eating. I help them heal their lives, lower stress. It's the whole, it's everything. It's all the person.
Yeah, no, I usually ask people how they want to be introduced, and I just completely spaced
That
on
doesn't
that
matter.
one this time. But yeah, I saw today too that you have a book.
I do. I wrote a book. It's called 30 Little Thoughts. Somebody said it sounds like dirty little thoughts, but it's not. It's 30. And it's real small. It's on Amazon. I was going to offer if people like listen to this and you find me somewhere else and say, "Hey, I heard you on Savannah's podcast," then I'll help happily send you a book. But it's just like little mindfulness tips that can brighten your day. You can play with like one a day. You could play with one every day for 30 days. You could open it randomly. It's kind of a fun little book.
I like things like that. We have one that's called "How to Get What You Want," and literally all it is little paragraphs just throughout the entire book that you can open at random, and it's just a mindfulness type, points you in a direction of thought,
Makes you
essentially.
think.
Makes you think.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, no, we met a couple of years ago. I had you on in my Facebook group to do a live about chakras and everything. So
And
that
we
was,
were breathing. Yeah.
yeah. And then now, so I think me and you fall into, you do more of the food stuff, and but we both cover the same areas,
Yeah.
like,
This morning I did a little group breath work and it was a lot of chakras and breathing. So I think we way overlap. We do different things. We do similar things. It's pretty cool, actually.
yeah, because that's how everything ends up being anyway, is overlap, right?
Hmm.
It's really hard to try and section yourself off and figure out what you're doing when you go out and start working for yourself like this, like what we do.
Yep.
It's like, to market it properly and allow people to actually know what you do, you have to really pinpoint a certain direction. And that's kind of hard to do when,
I'm so with you. I'm so with you. Because people say, "What do you do?" And for each individual client, it's different. For
yeah,
each person, it's different. And what are we trying to get at? The same thing, to feel good, to feel better, to feel grounded, to heal us, to heal our bodies, to heal our relationships. So what do you do?
yeah, exactly. They don't get it. And it's so hard to explain it in a finite, boxable thing
Mhm.
because, nothing's boxable.
Nothing's boxable, and it's not necessarily a one sentence niche. There are people out there that have legitimate awesome one sentence niches,
Sure.
and I feel like I'm so glad you said that because that has been it's been it doesn't bother me, but when people say, "What do you do?" I can explain what I do, but it's not like a concise elevator pitch.
Yeah. I usually just laugh. Like,
Yeah.
nervous.
I
How much time do you have? Do you actually want to know, or
want
you
to
want
know,
me to
right?
throw like I do? I help people do things. I don't know.
That's right. And I like your shoes.
Yeah. Change the subject real quick.
Pivot. Exactly.
Yeah. Because again, it's such a broad topic. I have landed on currently, because I guess, the overall message is what we really need to focus on anyway, right? Like the why. Why are you here? Why are you doing it? And my why lately has, well, I mean, I guess it's always been, honestly, because, hindsight's 2020. I couldn't have explained this to you years ago. Um, I do tell the story sometimes about how, we're gonna skip over, but I told my dad with that because he was like, "What are you doing on that computer anyway?" I was like, "I'm trying to save the world, Daddy," and
Right.
that was the whole thing. And but that's exactly what I'm still trying to do. But it's went from saving the world, which is laughable,
It's
at,
valiant. Yeah.
but we're healing the
Yeah.
world, and the way we do that is on an individual level because how did we get in a world that's so in need of healing in the first place? Was the internet's brand new, and up until its commonplace existence, we didn't even know that we needed to heal. I was writing about this just yesterday. um we were a product of our environment, of the people around us.
Yeah.
And we didn't even know that healing was needed. There's so many avenues of healing. There's mental and emotional health, physical health, sexual health, relationship health, community. Like there's so many categories.
It's everywhere.
And we kind of, until the internet opened up all of these avenues for us to really learn and explore, we barely even had a hold on, we didn't even have a hold on physical health.
No,
Everybody,
and nobody really taught. I mean, I think everybody's parents or whoever raised you, grandparents, aunts, uncles, everybody does the best with the best they can with what they have, with where they are. And
sure.
nutrition can vary.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And the physical health then also varies.
Yes. Where I started with my physical health, physical health is what gets a lot of us into this.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because it's the one that makes the biggest impact. It's the one that screams the loudest when
It
something's
sends you its
wrong.
bill. It's like, I'm done. Here's your bill.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
So I had a lot of health issues, starting with when I was about 13 or 14. I started passing out all the time. And turns out I was hypoglycemic. Literally, the only advice my doctors gave me was just eat more.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that was really unhelpful. So, I tried my best to just eat more.
Eat more. Yeah.
But if you're eating the wrong things, it doesn't really matter. So I was living off of Hot Pockets, ramen, tortilla chips. That was pretty much it. And I was
trying to eat more of those.
yeah. And the people in my life, like you said, they're all doing the best that they have with the knowledge that they have and the resources that they have. And so what I saw from those resources, which was just, the people around me, was that they measured health by your waistline.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Pant size.
Absolutely.
That's it. And I was put let's see, how do I cover this without sounding I should have wrote this out. I need to go all the stories that I have, and like I want to tell my stories without making anybody else stories look bad.
I know. I
So
understand.
that's where I'm at with this. But so I was put on this diet at one point in my life where the only thing I was allowed to eat were salads.
Oh God.
Yeah, but the problem is that they were all fried chicken salads with drenched in ranch and cheese and bacon.
I used to do similar salads, but mine were the breaded processed fake meat.
Okay, yeah.
With all the cheese and everything, yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. No, I've been there too. So yeah, no, it's amazing because so that's where I was with all of that. And then I started paying attention to the people in my life and how they were in and out of surgery after surgery, a cocktail of pills every morning that they just had to have. And fast forward, here we are like 20 years later, and I finally figured it out. I guess it's like 15 years later. I'm not quite at 20 yet, but anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was really glad to have you on and talk about all of this.
Yeah.
What do you see as the most common problems that people have with food and physical health?
That's the tricky question, right? What is the most common? Because some people, like you said hypoglycemic, and one of my clients came to me and she was a conundrum to her. I can't remember if it was a registered dietitian or a nutritionist. Both of those careers, I respect them. I do respect them. We need them. The world needs registered dietitians and nutritionists. Hers happened to just say, I just don't know what to do with you, right? And she's only early 30s and had a couple kids, big job, and just said, I just don't know what to do. And she was also needing to be off of gluten, right? So she was told she couldn't eat beans. She was told she couldn't eat grains. So we figured, I was like, play with oat groats. Let's see what like buckwheat groats feel like. She's like, oh my God, I can eat grains, right? And then I said, let's just try different beans, because not all beans are created alike, right? It's not, black beans are not the same as chickpeas, are not the same as, right, edamame or whatever. So there's certain beans that actually did work well and didn't freak her blood sugar levels out, right? And then grains and things in her life that she could eat that were, I mean, gluten is a protein that some people are like wicked allergic to, the celiac people, and then many people are intolerant to. And then there is a bazillion, it's the wrong number, of grains that just naturally don't have gluten. And so you don't have to like search after gluten-free, boxes, or, I mean, yes, you do if you have celiac, but there's just things that are naturally gluten-free anyway. So playing with that for her and just opening up and adding things in, she started to realize that a lot of her eating and her weight and her health problems were energetic.
Yeah.
Right? They existed in the physical, like you said. It's the most easy thing to see, feel, notice, right? It's super tangible because it's your own little car, right? It's your own body. And she was like, oh my God. And so there was a lot of stuff to unpack, energetic stuff and external protection that also becomes then body protection, whether it's extra weight or extra inflammation or extra toxicity that your body doesn't know what to do with. So if you're constantly eating this thing it can't process, it's going to stick it under your chin, or it's going to stick it on your waist, right? Physically. But there's a lot of energetics behind it. And when we started to go into this, then stuff started to shift for her. She's off her thyroid medicine. I'm not a medic, but I know that food is not like medicine. Food is medicine. So if you're working with your doctor, like really in cahoots with your doctor, hold hands with your doctor. They're also very important people. You can shift things by also unpacking energetic stuff, shifting your food. And then relationships change. Like you were saying, there's a relationship energy, right? But the first relationship that changes is with you.
Mm-hmm.
You start to respond to you because you start to actually hear what your body's saying, because she's been trying to talk to you for a long time.
Yep.
In your language, because it's your body, right? You just have to start to become fluent in your system communication. And then you start responding differently at work. And then you start responding differently to exercise and movement. And then I think the most common thing I see with people is that they're just not, it's same with me, same with you. Used to be that I would obsessively need the numbers on the scale, or I would obsessively need these numbers on the app. And I would look at the app and be like, ooh, I have 200 calories left. I'm going to drink wine. Or I have 600 calories left. What am I going to eat? I wasn't checking if I was hungry.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like I wasn't checking in or asking. It was all externally based. And so, this person said to take this, or this person said to eat like this, or this person said, I used to do all of this too. And my health got worse and my allergies got worse. And I got puffy. I'm a small person. I've never been like extremely overweight, but I have been very uncomfortable, definitely way considerably heavier and just uncomfortable, because I was listening to only what I should be eating instead of like knowing what my body needs. And so, do you need the same thing my body needs? No. Because people say, do I have to be plant-based? Do I have to be vegan? You don't have to be plant-based or vegan. We're going to find what your body needs, and you're going to be eating more Mother Nature things. But in order for us to have mental clarity and emotional balance, and then you and I kind of go, further out, and you want to connect with your guides, and you want to connect with spirit, and you want to connect with other people in the room intuitively, so you can run that board meeting better. The cleaner your body is, the more clear your connection everywhere is, and your decisions and your emotions and your relationship. There's no separation. There's no separation in any piece of anything we put in our mouth, or our relationship, our response to the lady in the grocery store.
You're right. You're absolutely right. I love that you went off like that because
I just went off.
it's so true though. And that's what makes all of this so difficult is that people want like clear cut, you do this, then you do that, then you do this. And you know what? No, you can't really be like that because yeah, it's energy. It's all energy.
It's all energy, and it's not hard. It's actually the more simple, the better, right? You don't have to eat this apple kind of product thing. You eat an apple,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not that you have to go like raw vegan salad-tarian, you don't have to do that. But it's actually the more simple. It's really in every case, right? The more simple, the better. The more time, 2 seconds you pause before you answer that text, the better for everybody.
Yes. Respond instead of react.
Instead of react. Yeah.
Yeah. But I agree completely. Food is where it starts.
Yep.
Because like you said, everything radiates out from there. Everything that you eat becomes a part of you and a part of your clarity and your abilities. And if you're like for example, I woke up this morning not feeling great. And if you don't feel great, then my poor children, like
Yeah.
all they were doing was talking to me. And I didn't snap. I didn't
No,
like, but
you're
my
aware.
internal dialogue was just screaming. I could barely cope. And I was smiling and listening and nodding, but like in survival mode.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
luckily, I have the meditative practice behind to be able to, because I definitely used to just
Oh
snap.
yeah. Yeah.
But
And when you eat the foods, even, there are certain foods that are really beautiful, clean, whole foods that make my belly freak out. So if I eat those, I'm not my best, right?
yep,
And if you eat the super, people are like, oh, well, all foods are processed. Yes, they are. They are, generally the apples have to be picked off the tree. That's a process, right? There's a lot of people who want to contest that. I'm just talking about like the boxed, uber processed, packaged stuff. When we eat this constantly hot pockets and packaged ramen, and for me it was like always special case cereal and frozen vegan dinners and the packaged fake meats and whatever. That stuff is not necessarily always made for like truly for human consumption, because it's chemical after chemical, and
yep,
it brings TV static in our mental clarity, right? It brings chaos in there. It's like it's literal fog, because you can't think clearly, feel clearly if you're eating that stuff. So if you're doing something, maybe you ate something yesterday, or maybe you just woke up in some type of way. We're in the Cancer transit. It's emotional. Even if you eat the most clean and your house is the most tidy, we're also in an energetic field of sometimes waking up feeling wonky.
yep,
If you have the general overall practice of giving your body plenty of water, right, and really simple beautiful foods like a sweet potato, like I posted yesterday in my stories, a loaded sweet potato with like I put navy beans on it and mini peppers and spinach and just lots of stuff, and it was delicious. Then I know that I'm running on the best I can. So if I wake up in like a wonky emotional state, it's something else,
yeah.
and it's okay. And then you can use your tools of smiling and nodding when you're like, just be quiet. Like I feel like it's a superpower to be able to make it through the day with children, whether you're mentally clear and emotionally balanced or not.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. I've been in those trenches for a while.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, going back to talking about the numbers and the external and the scale and stuff.
Yeah,
I teach yoga, and that in itself is a holistic practice that I'm constantly preaching about because people think that it's turned into an exercise.
it has.
And like, sure, yeah, that's the most tangible that people cling on to that material tangibility, the solidity, and I get it, but it drives me crazy when people come to me and I'm like, well, what are your goals? And they're like, well, the scale. And I'm like, no, no,
Yeah,
let's
yeah.
focus on something else, like self-love. How are your relationships? How do you feel about yourself, like internally? You take the physical out of it. The physical stuff will fall into place if you, like, naturally, if you get all of the other stuff, the things that actually matter. And not to say that physical health and all of that doesn't matter. It definitely does, but we need to focus on both when you're thinking about your body and how it appears to be or whatever. Your pant size is not what you want to go by. Those numbers on the scale are not what you want to go by. You want to focus on how you feel and how is your health. Can you get up every morning and do what you need to do without problems, without anything like that? Are you meeting your relationships where you want to meet them? Are they fulfilling? How is your emotional state? What are your emotions pointing you towards? What needs to be processed and unpacked and reworked? Like, let's talk about the philosophy stuff.
Well, and it's feeling, you're like, how do you feel? How do you feel? It can be, how do you feel emotionally? It can be, how do you feel physically? How do you feel? And Abraham Hicks, I'm sure you've listened to them.
Oh,
They say, your feelings are your GPS system.
yeah. Yes.
And so if you're not feeling good, it's okay, but your job is to head towards feeling better, gooder, heading towards good.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And your heart, like the energetic heart, obviously also your heart pumps you. And if your heart doesn't pump, then we're not here. So it is you. Your heart is you. You are not your mind, you are your heart. And so if your heart and your feelings are off, or you don't feel good, or you're not checking with how you're feeling, you're just checking with the scale, and you've been to yoga for 4 days in a row because maybe you'll lose some weight, it's very different.
Mm-hmm.
It's very different, and it's very separate, and it's very disconnected, and it doesn't feel good.
I want everybody to throw out their scales, like just smash
I
them.
actually posted about that in my Facebook group today, why I no longer use a scale.
Good.
I literally posted about that in my Facebook group today because I would be obsessed, and then I would go more into the apps if I got rid of the scale, and then I would bring the scale back in. And it wasn't until I started to like listen to how I was feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And eat things that actually I noticed, like you can start noticing, oh, I have more energy and I have less of a lull in the afternoon when I eat like this for lunch and snack, so that I'm not snapping at my kids, and I'm not, snipping at my partner, and I'm not driving like an idiot. Right? Your driving will shift if you eat better for your body. And I started to notice my pants changing, and I started to notice things changing. And it was when I was scale free,
Yes.
because I started to listen to other things. And it was also when I stopped obsessively exercising. Exercise is important. It is my lifeline. It is my antidepressant drug. I am not on antidepressants because I have exercise. It's
Me
very,
too.
very important for me. You don't always have to be in marathon training. That's where I was. It was beyond overkill. And it, like, listening to your body with exercise and not using exercise as a punishment for what we ate or permission to eat, but like as kind of a celebration of what your body can do. Moving. I mean, yoga, I think it was like somebody shared yoga was created so that the yogis could get like the wiggle worms out of their body so they could sit in meditation, right? It was all about being able to go into direct connection with highest self,
Mm-hmm.
not lose weight.
Yeah.
And it's really important to be limber. There's this cool Tai Chi guy I follow on Instagram, and he shows all these things like do this for mental clarity and knee support, and I love this guy, right? But he's using the practice of Tai Chi just as a holistic thing too. There's no separation between your feeling yucky and never being able to drop that weight and your internal blockage or cloggage or whatever you want to call it, not disconnect.
Yeah, and I think that's why I've landed so heavily on talking about the chakra system,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
that's, when everything is connected and everything is a whole. And it's really hard for us to wrap our heads around that, which is why we focus on, is why we section everything off into pieces, because pieces are easier to focus on, we think.
Yeah.
But if you just look at everything from like a zoom out type of uh 5-dimensional scale, you are a whole being, and your mind affects your body, and your body affects your mind, and your environment affects that, and you affect your environment, and it's all everything. So yeah, the chakra system helped me keep everything whole,
Yeah.
but also work on it step by step, piece by piece.
Well, and you can notice if you're breathing, like the breath work I even did this morning, but if you're breathing and you take yourself through the chakras or take somebody else through their chakras and do stuff like that, then you can see, sense, feel, notice that it's actually not as flowing in some area, right? That's the place to put more love and soften more and respond to immediately. It is a really great entry point. And like you said, there's no separation between your food and your mind and your emotion. If you constantly eat the chemically inflammatory whatever foods and oils and stuff, it triggers cortisol, right? The flight or fight, there's a tiger behind you hormone, and then that's going to put you into emotional eating, and then your emotions are going to feel like monkey butt, and so then you're going to eat things that feed your emotions, but they don't. It's just it's cyclical, and you're not meaning it to be.
Yes.
Some people will text me and say, why do I want to eat the pantry after lunch? Not after lunch, after work. Why do I want to come home and eat the pantry? I mean, there's a lot of layers to that, right? It could be, what do you do in transition from work to home? What do you do? What did you have for lunch? And are you wanting to eat your arm off because you didn't eat enough? What are you doing? Right. So if you're breathing in, I know this sounds totally disconnected from Savannah's chakras, but if you're breathing into your chakras and you're aware of them, or you sit in meditation, even for 7 minutes, it doesn't matter, 2 minutes,
Literally.
it doesn't. So who is it? Thich Nhat Hanh's like, if you don't have an hour to meditate, you need to meditate for 2. But sit in meditation for 2 minutes, just do it and connect. You'll take maybe a split second longer and grab an apple out the door and eat better during the day and not come home and eat the pantry, because it's all, there's no separation. This is why I love your page, and I love that we're connected, because there's no separation. You do different things, I do different things. There's no separation in what we do. We're trying to heal ourselves, constantly heal ourselves.
Yes.
Then we can heal. Well, we can heal everything around us, including our home environment, including just the vibe in our house. People come into your house and say, well, oh, it feels so calm. It feels so, good. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. I'm practicing, but then you can help other people heal themselves. And a good entry point is sitting and breathing with somebody who does chakras, breathing with yourself, and just focusing on, you want to manifest something, breathe a lot with your sacral chakra and soften and be down there in that womb, and don't dig up the acorn. Let the acorn sit in it's just, there's so much power in seeing the connection of everything. It's not just connecting food to everything, but food is not separate.
Yeah, yeah. The awareness is really all any of it is. And
It's
the
all,
meditation helps you sit and find that awareness, because you can't fix it, you can't shift, you can't choose a different pattern until you're aware of the pattern that exists.
yeah. Yeah. Oh, look, I'm in that pattern.
Mm-hmm.
That's then round of applause. Sorry you're doing that, spoon face down in a jar of Nutella. People have texted me too. It's okay. Good for you. And put the Nutella down.
Yeah, you're aware.
It's okay. Yeah. And really, I mean, then we could just say, okay, 2 minutes of internal space and calm softening meditation is the entry point. You could say, okay, food is the entry point. You could say, okay, physical movement, so that you feel better. Some people say, oh, I exercised and then I make better choices in food. I guess different people's entry point would be different entry points, but they're all an entry point, and they're all a middle point, and they're all Awareness is the biggest, like you said, that is the biggest thing. Are you aware that you have a pattern that doesn't serve you?
That's it.
Do you want to be aware that you have a pattern that doesn't serve you? Yes, probably yes, right? And
Some
then, like you said, why? Why do you want to be aware? Why do you want to learn? Why do you want to become aware that you might have patterns that don't serve you? Because I want to chase after my grandchildren, because I want to, it doesn't matter your why, right? Because I want to look hot in my bathing suit. That's okay. That's
Yeah.
okay. That's fine. And then you'll get so much more than just hot in your bathing suit.
Hmm. Yeah, I know there's definitely all of these entry points that lead to the same place, which is healing. That's the
Healing.
I instruct a lot of people to because the physical, the tangible material is so much easier for people to grasp, that if they're not already into the mental philosophy, that kind of spirituality, like just a lot of all of that stuff, the less tangible things, then yeah, food, exercise, cleaning,
Yeah,
your environment, your house. If you start feeling cloudy and whatnot, I nothing can help. Well, a lot of things can help, but one of the easiest things you can do, like that feel tangible, is to clean your bedroom. Look around. Are there nooks and crannies that where things are piling up? Have things because that it's the law of correspondence. It's
yep,
reflects as within, so without, and
yep.
vice versa. So you'd be amazing at what cleaning your closet out and making that all nice and organized will do for your mental stability.
Absolutely. I threw a random 3-day decluttering thing in the end of April for this exact reason, because a lot of, like, I have some clients who are really doing the internal stuff. They're really putting it in, as far as giving themselves meditation. Sometimes evening feels better. Sometimes they do it twice a day in a couple minutes. They're really shifting their eating. They're moving more, and they live in complete chaos and clutter. Not to the like point of calling them a hoarder, but it's really, really full everywhere, everywhere. And there's stuff they find, like, you know, a PhD diploma from 2005 or what. It's just unopened in the mailer. It's interesting. And it's also protection. A lot of times, sometimes it's unaware. This is like mindless eating. Like, how did I get on this couch with this bag of cookies that is now gone? That's a habit and a pattern. And there was something else going on that brought you into those cookies, right?
Mhm.
It's the same with letting your house clutter up, or get to a state that feels uncomfortable, and you're like, whoa, right? Like you said, a lot of times though, stuff, I'm quoting people here, but stuff is just like caving in. But like, what if there's something underneath that? What if there's something underneath that? You haven't looked in any of that stuff for 12 years since you moved, let alone maybe 10 years prior, because you didn't open it then anyway. It's just moved with you. And it's not, it's oftentimes it's protection. Or another response besides emotional eating, or besides staying in bed all day because you really can hardly move, or besides, it's another layer. And yeah, when you notice stuff has piled up in that nook and cranny, and you move it, and maybe you notice this morning, I'm very short, I'm 5 feet tall, so I had to get up and get a flower vase, because I always keep yellow flowers on my refrigerator. So I had to get up and flower vase, and I found I love tea. I love loose leaf tea. I have, like, the travel mugs that have the steeper thing. And I also break things and I drop things a lot, not on purpose. And I have this favorite teapot. It's called For a Life. I get it all the time on Amazon. It's wonderful. And it's like $30. It's wonderful. Little teapot, steeper pot. And I've probably had about 10 of them, because somehow I'll put it on the counter very mindfully. I'm putting it here so it doesn't fall off. It falls off, shatters. I've had to buy so many of them. I keep the inside steeper parts, but I'm so short. Like, I have a very tidy house because it helps me eat better. I make better eating choices because I'm not mentally crazy. I'm not emotionally imbalanced, being fed by clutter, right? I had five of the little silver things. This is a true confession on your podcast, in the back of my cupboard when I climbed up on the chair to get a vase. And I was like, who needs five? I kept the one that goes in the travel one. And I was like, when I break the next one, I'll just get a new steeper basket in there too. I cannot have those. And that's not a cluttery house, but that's just like some random stuff in a tidy house in the corner that I was like, oh, well, this is fun. You know? Like, yeah, if you're feeling yucky, look at some corner. Maybe it's the corner of your kitchen where you're like, ugh, I just keep those papers there. Do those papers for like 10 minutes. And it'll feel so good, and you'll actually feel better, and you'll probably make a better food choice
Yeah.
because you got rid of those papers. No, that's it's what is it? As above, so below. And so as it is internally, it reflects directly externally. And if your house looks crazy to you, that's a reflection.
Absolutely. 100%. Now I noticed in myself that I go I go back and forth with having problems with food and then being okay with food. Like I don't know if that's normal or not. I kind of knew I may have had like borderline eating disorder. Um but it's been under control. I mean, it's never uh full confession and stuff. Okay. Uh so
Well,
I know exactly what it all stems from as well. For one, it's a control thing. You know, when you grow up with no control, something a lot of people turn to food because you can control that.
yep.
And then some of it was body image stuff put on me from other people because I was a chubby kid. Uh, Nobody told me in elementary school that eating both your hamburgers and your friends' hamburgers because they didn't want them made you the chubby kid. I had no idea that too much food intake was.
Yeah, there's no correlation. You're little. Oh, I see a
Yeah,
cat tail.
yeah,
Oh.
yeah. So and then that just escalated because you know, I got put on that diet with the salad thing. And then so I was stuck in that for like a year. And then it got so I was so sick of eating the same thing for every meal. And it wasn't working anyway. I wasn't losing weight. I just stopped eating.
Yep.
Stopped eating. So that's what happened there. So now sometimes I have a trouble making myself eat enough. And people say things, they'll be like, that's all you're going to eat. And we're like, I felt like
Oh,
this was
and
a
then
full
it
plate.
goes, yeah, exactly. And it's because
Yeah.
nobody knows what you're healing, what I'm healing, what I mean, some people know, but they don't really know.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Commentary doesn't help.
No, no, it doesn't. And so I have noticed that that when I'm going through emotional stuff, like for example, this past week I lost my main yoga studio. So the main one I've been running my business out of for only 7 months. The owner asked for my keys back. He was like, "We're done here. We're not going to do this anymore." And I don't know what happened or anything like that. I just kind of out of the blue, got it ripped out from under me. So, um, this past week I've been struggling with my food, you know, and that's the correlation. If things are going smoothly in my life, I can make those better food choices. But as soon as something happens, I just, you know, you revert right back to those old patterns, even if you're aware of it. And even if you actively fight not to, it can be hard.
And that's what I do. That's exactly what I do. So, and how do you explain that to somebody?
Yeah.
I help somebody with this. So, and you know this, a lot of people know this, but it's practicing and it's practicing because life is not going to line up to where you just all of a sudden feel good, no matter what, right? Life is
Yeah.
life. Life is not going to line up so where all of a sudden you're healed. Your healing goes on vacation with you. Your healing goes into the weekend. Your healing goes to a yoga studio release that was unforeseen, swept out from under your feet, right? Your healing goes through all of this. And when we are in that situation, those situations that are just shocking, and it's the main one, and it felt good, and it was 7 months, that's when we need us the most.
Mm-hmm.
That's when we need, because you're aware, so many people might not be aware that when it's that sort of emotional situation, that your eating gets off kilter, or you need to control something, or you just don't want to eat. That's not just that you lost your appetite, it's an old habit pattern, right? Old habit pattern. And then there will be other people who just go into the, really honestly self-hurtful abusive food, whether it's fried food or because they're looking to fill an emotional void with food, right? And yours is the other end of the spectrum of kind of self-abuse, right? When you just don't feel, to get through these emotional spaces, we have to turn towards us, and we have to do what you would do with your kid. You have to do what you would do for anybody else. And more so, you have to make it through and support your emotions, you have to eat
Mm-hmm.
the beneficial stuff, because yes, it will support your emotions and your mental clarity when it's like a normal Tuesday. But if it's a crap Tuesday, you need more of that. Maybe you need, pointing at myself, a different form of exercise. If you were going to go at it harder, if you were going to go gentle, maybe you get on the cycle and it's one of the best rides you've had because you needed to pound it out, right? It can go either way, but you need you the most. And so if it comes to food, that's when you eat the most cleanly, the most beautifully. And then you can say, I'm going to intentionally give myself a beautiful splurge because, little Megan or little Savannah, she's wanting like an ice cream cone, right? And you take your kids and you go somewhere because you've given your body gorgeous food, and you get that huge waffle cone, and you get, I mean, mine would have to be non-dairy and they're delicious, but you just get it and you be present with that. It's the longest lasting ice cream cone ever, but you feed your soul, like, you know what I mean? It's those sort of, we have to go towards us when that, because you see your pattern kick in, and then you're aware and you're having to take care of children too, right? And partners and stuff. But that's when you flex, the mom flex, and you do what you do for them, but you do more for you, which is really energetically,
Yeah.
attentionally, respondingly, does that make sense? Like, those are the time, the way that we can shift in eating, disordered eating, right? You don't have to be straight up bulimic or straight up, severe overeating or anything to have disordered eating. Disordered eating looks like a lot of different things.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Looks like a lot of different things. And you've been through the gamut, so you don't have like one thing somebody could peg, right? But you tend to not eat enough when stuff comes up.
Mm-hmm.
It makes a lot of sense, right? So then that pattern. Again, a lot of people haven't discovered that. And then to shift that pattern, you don't, because once you have an eating disorder, you always have a little bit of it. I can, testify, it can come up, but it sounds ridiculous, but I eat my way through it with like exactly how I intend to eat or what I want to give my body, because my body does not need to suffer if I'm trying to work through emotional things. My body needs to be fueled so that she can help me work through emotional things. It is control. It is control, just like over exercising, or I used to also vacuum my house 3 times a day when my relationship was in awfulness. I was controlling my floors.
Yeah.
So it's more, your body needs more care when you're in some sort of emotional state than she ever does at other times.
Absolutely. And it's important for us to remember because, all of us all day long could be like, I mean, I do fine until something comes up, but
Exactly.
something's always going to come up. There's always, and I think that the more that you heal and actively show the universe that that's the path that you want, the more it's going to throw at you
Yep.
so that you can heal. So it's like, because I have clients that'll be like, it seems like the heart, and myself even, They're like, the harder I work, the more I focus, the better I do, the more life throws at me. And I'm like, yep, that's exactly how it works.
Well, and my shaman, she says, I mean, like anything, right? Advertising says they have to see it 7 times to actually see it, whether it's Pepsi or, you know, a
Yes.
Facebook group live or something, you know, totally different.
Bucky's. Are you familiar with Bucky's?
I've heard of it. It's like a truck stop or something, right?
Yes, they put one in my hometown this past year. And if you drive down the interstate, which runs straight through my hometown, there's like 8, 9 Bucky's billboards. And I'm like, I pointed out to several people. I'm like, see, they have to see
That's
it like
it.
times before.
That's it. And my shaman's like, you will get at least 7 tests, right? Do you really mean you want to heal? Do you really want to heal this? Do you actually really want to scale? You know the level of success you are manifesting. Are you really ready for it? Like, yeah, I mean, it's, yeah, yeah.
And it gets
It's,
a little easier every time. You
Mhm.
know, I've built my platform. It started out as me trying to figure out how to heal my anxiety and self-esteem and confidence issues. Okay. So that's where we started out. And here I am. I've made leaps and bounds of progress, but I lost full range of motion in my neck and shoulders because I was like this right here all the time because I was just terrified somebody was going to notice I existed. And that comes from like a lot of things, trauma based and whatnot. But I finally hit this point about 2, maybe almost 3 years ago now, where I really felt on top of the world. I felt like I was like, man, I have been missing out. I hate that it took me so long to get here. I am just fabulous walking on air, in love with myself. And then we had an incident. My we had a lot of deaths. There was 3 months where it was just death, death, not any more death, but it was essentially might as well have been, honestly. Just some really bad stuff that knocked my confidence levels back to the floor where they were. And I had to rebuild again. And then it's like it took me like a year, and I was starting to feel that feeling. And I was mourning that feeling. I was sitting around thinking about how I was like, man, I felt like this right here. I can taste it. It was so good. Why did I let myself fall again? And it's because, well, you thought it was healed, but it wasn't entirely healed.
Right. It's the sustainability. It's the resilience and yeah.
You had
No,
to
I
figure out what other point in it needed to be healed.
well, and there's layers to an onion, and then there's like a bag of onions, and then there's like a warehouse of onion, right? Like it's just a lot. And I understand the like just not wanting to be seen. There was one energy worker said, I think you've been cloaked. Like you've been cloaked your whole life. Just like don't want to be too loud, don't want to be too this, don't want to be too in the way, you know. But it was also never enough. I understand. I understand what you're saying. There's like just layers and layers of layers. Um, but yeah, it's the resiliency that I mean, I'm building it too with you. I was not on social media at all until I became a health coach, and like that was shocking to allow myself to be seen too, to
Yeah.
say what I wanted to say, because I healed me, I'm still healing me, I can help you heal you, but like you have to show up and allow yourself to be fabulous walking on air,
Mm-hmm.
and to feel fabulous walking on air, like truly through you, to be able to show up for people to say, okay, I feel that and I want to feel that, you
Yeah.
know, because I mean, if I can feel good, anybody can feel good, like for real. And
Yes.
I feel good the vast majority of the time, unless I don't. And if I don't, it's okay, because I notice right away I don't feel good. Like you said, it gets easier,
Mm-hmm.
right? When you get, like you said, you got knocked down and you're like, I could taste it, but it's not gone. It's just that the old stuff is up to move through and out and release. It comes up to move through and out to release. And it does, it does get more easy and it does get more fluent because you can start seeing it. And even if it's humongous, you're like, I see you. I see what this is. And this doesn't feel good. And I don't want to move through this, but I'm going to move through this.
Mm-hmm. I mean, what choice do you have at that point?
Because I want to feel like this more, like the other walking on air, floating, walking on air, fabulous. Yeah, I mean, what choice do you have? You have a choice and you can just go and sit back in your swamp, but I don't. I'm here to feel good and then I'm here to feel great. Sometimes I feel great now. Most of the time I feel good, and that's a big deal.
It is. It is. I talk a lot in my yoga classes about how at the end we lay down and we tire ourselves out so that we can lay down and breathe and exist and think and meditate and practice. And one of the practices I like to bring them to and tell them about is that there's the emotional scale. You can't always feel great, joy, everything at the top all the time. That's unsustainable. And you have to think about how its counterpart down here in the bottom is despair, sorrow, and how you don't want that to hang around all the time either. So you want to find, instead of trying to constantly attain joy and those big, awesome emotions that are fleeting, it's a lot easier to stay in the middle somewhere with like contentment. That's why people talk about gratitude all the time. It's a nice, mellow emotion in the direction of positivity. Yeah. And that's what you need to focus on.
We are so exactly on the same page. We are so exactly, because it's not it's not always going to feel like the 6-year-old girl birthday party. Like it's not supposed to, right? It's the Goldilocks zone. Like they talk about with the earth. I mean, bless the earth and everything that's happening to her right now. But like right where we are in this solar system allows the plants and the trees and the water and the fish and us, like this life. That's the Goldilocks zone. If we were Mercury, we wouldn't be here. If we were, Venus, we wouldn't be. It's the Goldilocks zone. So you want that just right chair, not the too hard, not the too soft, and not the like. I mean, joy is important. And like you said, does it have to be fleeting? Not as fleeting as it has been when you feel despair a lot of the time, right? But yeah, it's the calm, it's the nirvana, it's the peace, it's the ease, it's the smooth, it's the Goldilocks zone that we're actually, I think, in my opinion, intended to cruise in. And then we get to feel joy, hopefully, and happiness is separate from contentment. And the gratitude, yeah, it's not like suck up what you have and just be grateful.
Yeah, no.
No, I mean, we've all heard that, but it's literally just saying, I love that I have my dog who loves other dogs and babies and children and people, and then when I've spent oodles of money on training so she doesn't pull on the leash and then she just pulls on the leash, I'm still really appreciative that I have this dog who is just a good dog. She's just freaking excited and pulling on the leash, and no amount of money is going to make her not pull on the leash.
We might have the same dog.
You have the same dog. It's that kind of gratitude, because I really am in constant gratitude and appreciation for my dog. And yes, she does drive me nuts with the leash pulling, but it's just not a big deal, right? So it's just, I am in contentment and ease and calm and peace with this awesome dog I have. And sometimes she brings me great joy, right? And sometimes I crack up when we're walking because she hops into this like crouched ninja tripod when she pees. Every time it's just this ridiculous action. And sometimes she does it like against the trash can. She ends up in a handstand. It's ridiculous. And so I'm like laughing on our walks all the time, while I'm also, which is one spectrum, and I'm also annoyed that she's just still pulling and it's an hour later. But generally it's the Goldilocks zone, and that's what you're after. You're after that on the mat. You're after that with your eating. You're after that with your, with your relationships, because we can't control how anyone else feels, even no matter how much we want to.
Oh my gosh, yes. That's real. That's something that all of us have, myself included. Other people have been a most of my sitting around and thinking my entire life has been, why did they do that? Or why do they say that? Or
Or
why
why
do
don't they, or why won't they? And yeah, it's like
yes.
projection and reflection. And it's not wrong to think that, because in all honesty, if it's someone you really love, you really want them to do something different because it would be better for them, but that's your interpretation of better for them. So again,
Yes.
it's the Goldilocks zone. Like, I really appreciate being with them because of this. Why? Because of this, because I feel like this. And I also really appreciate that I'm aware that they have their own emotions, and I need to get off the couch right now. Go to another room.
Yeah. Yeah. It can be, that's a whole topic on itself
That's a
about,
whole topic.
oh yeah.
Exactly.
Oh yeah. Weighing the pros and cons. We all people, I don't know, there's a pandemic of loneliness and so everybody's lonely and we're all essentially drowning in it, and as we're bobbing up and down trying to grasp at breaths of air, um yeah, we all have a whole lot of healing to do.
We all have healing to do. And I am so grateful for how much I've healed. And I cannot even, I am, this is a lifelong quest.
Oh
It's a life.
yeah. Yes, that's another thing I tell people is that you are here for the rest of your life.
That's right.
Diets don't work, lifestyle changes do. Nothing temporary is going to bring you permanent solutions. I mean, nothing's permanent anyway. Everything's temporary, and you're just kind of, things are what they are until they're not, and they're always going to eventually be not, no matter
Mhm.
what that is, no matter what that looks like. We're all growing either by default or by intentions. And
Right.
intentional is what you want to hope for and aim for in all of the
You're
things.
aiming for. Yeah, exactly. And when I'm not here, I won't necessarily notice, or I will, but it's when my life was, it was 100%. I'm not even exaggerating, externally driven, yeah, whether it's scale or food app, but also externally driven, opinions of others, or needing validation, or external, I need to run this many miles, or I need to do whatever. Oh God, it just felt bad.
I think that's how most people operate their lives, though, is from external
Yeah,
things and
yeah,
other people's opinions, other people's ideas of what good is or what
yeah,
the correct way to do anything is, when
yeah,
literally everything is a spectrum, and we're all just, we're all located on our own points of these intersecting spectrums, and that we can't possibly begin to tell anybody what's right for them.
oh,
All we can do is tell you our experiences of how we figured out what was right for us,
yep,
and tell you kind of the modalities that we went through and the processes to find what was
yep.
right for us.
Help you sense and feel and intuit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's just, and that broad spectrum, again, like Abraham Hicks, there's like that's your GPS. And if you're on that like despair, despondency end of the spectrum, that's not why you're here.
Mm-hmm.
That's not why we're here. We're here to feel good, and good is in the middle.
It is. It is. And that's what people, they think good is at the one extreme or the other. And it's not. You got to find that happy medium.
Hmm.
Well, I could continue on for probably a whole nother hour with you, but I want to be respectful for everybody's time. Maybe we can do another episode at another
Be fun.
time. It
That'd be
would be
fun.
fun. This has been fun. I appreciate you so much for all of this. Is there anything you want to leave with them, like words of advice, or definitely share where they can find you?
Yeah, well, I would love for you to find me. I'm on well, I've now put myself on many places, but Instagram, you can easily message me. Say you heard me on Savannah's podcast, and I'll send you my book. I'm at wellness_on_purpose. And then on Facebook, my personal page is Megan Jones. I have a little Facebook group that you're welcome to join. It's called Eating Healthy and Finding Balance. It's a fun group of people. It's just kind of more of my musings and sharings, whether it's food or internal stuff, exercise and stuff. But and my book is on Amazon. You can look up Megan Jones. It has an H, Meghan Jones, Jones, 30, the number, Little Thoughts, and you can find me on Amazon. And if it feels good to you, please leave a review, because that helps me too.
Oh yeah.
But I would like to just share, like, I do this for me. I really believe that every moment of every day, you can live your life more and more on purpose. So if you feel like you're feeling like totally out of body with food, or like just whatever, ask, what is the purpose of this moment? Purpose of this moment is I'm picking up this pen. Purpose of this moment is I'm sitting in this chair looking at Savannah. The purpose of this moment, it really helps with anxiety, really helps with the spinning rabbit holing we do in our mind of like what people said or what we shoulda, coulda, woulda, you know? So just what is the purpose of this moment? Every moment of every day we can live a little more on purpose. And that's just what I want to leave you with. Like you said, just intentional living. What is the purpose of this moment?
Hyper awareness of mindfulness.
Hyper awareness.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's checking in with, how does the air feel on your skin?
Exactly.
What do you smell? What do you feel? Do you actually feel the solidity of the chair that you're sitting on?
Are you noticing that you're sitting?
Yeah. Have you checked in with your pinky toe and your right foot lately?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Hyper awareness.
Awesome. Well, this has been great. I've enjoyed it so much. And of course,
Thank you.
I will link everything at the bottom so it's easy for them to find you.
That's great.
All right. And you have a great day.
You
Namaste.
too. Thank you.
Uh-oh. And I'll edit all of that.
It's fine. It still says recording.
It is. I'm trying